A woman gets her car hit, it gets repaired, paid for, picked up, and she drives it for a month. And then she opens an email and finds out that her car has been declared a total loss. Sit with that for a second. The vehicle was already repaired. The shop had already released it. According to her, the insurance company had already paid the shop, and she'd even gotten her deductible back. She'd been driving that car for weeks, thinking that the claim was closed and life had moved on. Then the claim came back from the dead. So here's the question. How does someone end up driving around in a repaired vehicle only to get a message later telling them that it's actually a total loss? That's what we're getting into today on the Airing of Grievances. Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Raymer from Nyland's Collision Center in Englewood, Colorado. We're a Lexus, Toyota, and Lucid certified body shop, and every week we break down the collision repair stories that vehicle owners need to hear before they're standing at the counter holding a set of keys, wondering who's actually looking out for them. This one caught my attention because it sounds almost impossible. A car gets damaged, insurance gets involved, the shop repairs it, the customer picks it up, and then after all that, she's told that the vehicle's a total loss. If that's you, where do you even start? Do you keep driving it? Do you give it back? Does the title get branded? Do you start wondering about diminished value or whether the repair was even complete? And honestly, the bigger question is why anyone let her believe that the claim was finished before the biggest financial decision in the whole thing had actually been made. That's the part that should get everyone's attention. According to her posts on Reddit, this was a 2018 Chevy Cruze with about 97,000 miles. The accident happened in Oklahoma. Another driver hit her, and the repair came out to about $8,800 plus a rental. She picked up the car on June 10th. About a month later, she gets an email saying that the vehicle's been declared a total loss, and the insurance company needs the title. That's a nightmare. By that time, she's already moved on. The car's back. The claim looks resolved. Her family's reorganized their entire routine around having it back, and then the ground just moves underneath her. And stories like this matter because the consumer is the one standing in the middle of the confusion. There could be an explanation buried somewhere in that claim file. A supplement could have changed the math. There could have been a timing gap between the repair side of the claim and the total loss side. Since both drivers apparently had the same insurance company, there might have been two separate claim files running at the same time. Or the shop, the adjuster, the total loss department, and the consumer just weren't talking to each other. All of that could be true. But from where she's sitting, all she knows is she heard, "Your car is fixed," and then she heard, "Your car is totaled." That's a real breakdown in trust. So let's talk about why this actually happens. When your car first gets inspected after an accident, that first estimate is almost never the full story. Damage hides behind bumper covers, trim, lights, liners, wheels, suspension, structural pieces you can't see until the car comes apart. That first number is always just the start of the conversation. Once the shop starts tearing the car down, they find more. That becomes a supplement. The cost changes, the repair plan changes, and depending on what they find, the labor and parts availability can shift as well. A calibration or an alignment or a structural measurement turns a manageable repair into something a lot more expensive. That's usually where the total loss conversation starts showing up. Every state and every policy has its own rules and thresholds, but the basic idea is this. At some point, the cost to repair a car gets close to or exceeds what the car is worth. When that happens, the insurance company can call it an economic total loss. Some states also brand the title once a repair costs hit a certain percentage of the car's value, which is exactly why customers need clarity before the car ever goes home. A climbing cost, a pending supplement, a car getting close to that total loss line, a title that could be affected, all of that has to be communicated before the keys change hands. You shouldn't have to find that out a month later in an email by surprise. Now, let's get into one of the strangest parts of this whole thing. She says that State Farm paid the shop directly and reimbursed her the $1,000 deductible. That's confusing because if the other driver's at fault, you usually shouldn't be paying the deductible at all. deductibles typically come out of your own collision coverage. So why would there be one here? She could have started the claim on her own policy and gotten reimbursed once liability was accepted. There might have been two separate State Farm files since both drivers apparently had State Farm, one running through the at-fault driver's liability coverage and another tied to her own policy. Or it's possible the shop got paid through some direct repair agreement. Maybe one department was working off one file while another was working off a completely different one. This is exactly why the story is useful. Most people assume that there's one clean process: accident, estimate, approval, repair, pickup, done. Real collision repair gets a lot messier than that. You've got an initial estimate, the teardown, the supplements, the re-inspections, sometimes internal reviews, liability questions, coverage questions, rental issues, parts delays, and total loss evaluations. The list goes on and on. There's salvage value, title rules, repair authorization. All of this is happening at once while the customer is just trying to find out when she gets her car back. The collision industry lives inside that process. The customer lives inside whatever comes out the other end. If the shop gets something wrong, she pays for it. Same thing if the insurer gets something wrong or if the communication breaks down anywhere along the line. And if the repair was rushed or underdocumented, she might keep paying long after the claim is officially closed. Which brings me to authorization. You own the car. You're the one authorizing the repair, and you deserve to know what's being replaced, what's being measured, how about what's being scanned or calibrated, and whether the economics of the whole claim are shifting underneath you. The insurance company might owe for the loss. The shop performs the repair, but ultimately, you're the one who has to go home with the outcome. In this story, she was left trying to piece that outcome together after the fact, which is a rough way for a customer to find out that her car has been totaled. This is also why, quote, "it's approved" can be dangerous language coming out of anyone's mouth. Approved by whom? Based on which estimate? Before the teardown or after? Before the supplement or after? Approved by the adjuster or the total loss department? Or is it just a payment on an account? And here's the problem. To the customer, approved usually means everything's settled and they can stop worrying. To a shop, it might mean that the current estimate got accepted, enough to move forward. To the insurance company, it might mean that they cut a check based on what they knew at the time. To some other department at that same insurance company, it might mean that they still haven't decided whether or not this car is a total loss yet. One word, four different meanings, and the customer's the one caught in the gap. So let's ask for specifics. What estimate got approved? What supplement got approved? Is anything still pending? Is the car anywhere near total loss threshold? Has anyone looked at the title question yet? Have all the OEM procedures been identified? Will you get the final repair paperwork before you pick the car up? Those are the questions that protect you. Let's talk safety for a second. In those same Reddit posts, she also said something about the wheel angle looking off after the repair, like the car wasn't quite tracking right. Look, nobody can diagnose a car off of a Reddit post, but the concern itself is legitimate. When a car takes a hit anywhere near the wheel, the suspension, the steering, the alignment, or the structural mounting points can all be a part of that conversation. And a car can look perfectly fine on the outside while still needing a lot more verification underneath. That's why the documentation matters so much. If a wheel got hit, you should know what got inspected, what got replaced, what got aligned, what proves that the car tracks straight. If there are ADAS systems involved, you should know what got scanned and calibrated and confirmed. A shiny car doesn't prove anything, and neither does a paid bill. A released car isn't the same as a settled claim. So here's what I'd tell anyone who hears a story like this and doesn't want to become the next one. Ask the shop if the car's been fully torn down and if all the damage, visible and hidden, has actually been documented. Your adjuster should be able to tell you if your current repair cost is getting close to the car's value or any title threshold in your state, and whether or not there's a supplement still sitting on their desk waiting for approval. Get clear with the shop who signed off on the repair and exactly what got authorized. Check with both of them on whether anything's still pending, whether that's a review, a parts decision, a payment issue, and before you take your car back, get your final documentations from the shop. The bill, the scans, the calibrations, all of it. And if anything sounds confusing, whether it's coming from the shop or from your adjuster, slow down and ask them to put the answer in writing. A shop operating with integrity won't hesitate to document every step of a repair and put it in an email. In our experience, insurance companies are a different story. They'll avoid written documentation at almost every turn. We recently put out a video about an insurer that wouldn't even document why they refused to cover multiple OEM required procedures. At our shop, we make a habit of including our guests on every email that we send to the insurance company, and almost every single time, that insurer's reply comes back with the guest quietly stripped out of the thread. It makes you wonder what they don't want the customer to see. And if you're still with me, here's what makes this story worth talking about. It's about how familiar that confusion feels to almost anybody who's been through a claim. Way more than it's about nailing down every detail of one stranger's Reddit post. One side tells you they need something to fix the car right. The other side tells you they don't pay for that. Someone says it's authorized, someone else says the file's still under review. The shop says the car is ready, and the insurer says the claim's still open. And you're the one stuck making decisions without knowing the actual rules of the game. That's where people get hurt. Sometimes financially, sometimes it's a safety issue, and sometimes it's just the stress of getting bounced between people who each understand their own little corner of the process, while nobody explains the whole picture to the person who actually owns the car. She thought her car was fixed. A month later, she was in a total loss conversation. That should make anybody ask, could this happen to me? And the honest answer is yes. Anytime the process outruns the communication, when supplements get handled sloppily or a repair starts before the financial picture is actually clear, or if a shop assumes the insurer's on the same page, or when an insurer pays one piece of a claim while another piece stays wide open. When you hear the word approved without anyone telling you what it actually covers. At Nyland's, this is why we talk so much about OEM procedures, documentation, scans, calibrations, and making sure that you actually understand what's happening to your car. It sounds boring right up until you're the person trying to figure out why your already repaired car just got called a total loss. A good repair process answers these questions before they turn into a crisis. What does the manufacturer actually require, and what did teardown find once the car came apart? How does that compare to the original estimate, and what's the real final cost? Is the car still repairable, or is it creeping toward that total loss line? You need proof that the repair was actually done right, and you need to know all of that before you take your keys back. Those are consumer protection questions, plain and simple. Here's the heart of it. When your car gets damaged, you're already dealing with enough. Maybe an injury, missed work, rental headaches, possibly a family schedule that's been thrown off, claim calls, and a vehicle that you depend on every single day. The last thing you need is to get handed the keys and then find out just a month later that the whole financial status of your car had quietly changed behind your back. And here's something worth knowing going in. The shop can flag a repair that's getting expensive, but it's always the insurance company that makes the total loss call, not the shop. A good shop follows OEM procedures, uses OEM parts, and actually communicates with you. And that combination is getting harder to find. A good insurer is even harder to find. But the good ones pay for the correct repair without leaning on you, the customer that they have the contractual agreement with, to cover out of pocket the things that they'd rather not pay for. If the cost is climbing toward that total loss territory, you deserve to hear that from your adjuster before it happens. If the title could be affected, that needs to reach you right away. And if authorization ever feels unclear, stop and get it cleared up before another dollar gets spent on your car. That's really what this whole story comes down to, the cost confusion. Because once the process gets murky, people lose money, time, trust, and they lose confidence in the car sitting in their own driveway. And that is why this one belongs on the airing of grievances. A woman's car got fixed, paid for, returned, and driven for a month. And then, and only then, she found out it was a total loss. Whether that breakdown started with the insurer, the shop, the claim file, the supplement, or some combination of all of it, the lesson for you is the same. Don't assume that a claim's settled just because a car looks repaired, or that a repair is complete just because a payment went out. The title being fine is not a given. Just because the car got released back to you and approved doesn't automatically mean the whole claim got resolved. Ask the questions. Get it in writing. Know who authorized what, or if a supplement's still pending. Know how close the repair cost is to the actual value of the car, and know exactly what the shop did to prove that your car is safe and repaired the correct way. Because once you drive it off the lot, confusion gets a whole lot harder to fix. If you've got questions after a collision repair or an insurance company's putting pressure on you to do things that you don't want, give us a call. I'll put the number right here, and we're happy to help if we're able. If nothing else, we'll help you ask the right questions before somebody else makes a decision about your car that you're going to have to live with. All right, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. If you found value in the video, please hit the like button, comment, and share with those that you love. And until next week, happy Saturday. God bless.